Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Golf and Politics. Today, we are going to talk about money, raising money on the golf course. You know, this weekend coming up is the Memorial Golf Tournament in Dublin, Ohio at Muirfield Village. This is a tournament that's one of the elevated events. The purse is $20 million to the players. I think the winner wins $4 million for first place. But people, sometimes I don't think they realize that the PGA Tour is a not-for-profit organization, and every PGA tournament raises money for charity. And just last year, the Memorial Golf Tournament raised $4.8 million, mostly for the Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, which is a fantastic facility. I used to live in Ohio, and it was a hospital that my children used, and we were very blessed to have when we lived there. It's a fantastic facility, and it would not be nearly as good a facility if it was not for the Memorial Golf Tournament, if it was not for the generosity of Jack and Barbara Nicholas. So the PGA Tour, every time they tee it up, they're raising money for charity, which is a great thing. But many of you will tee it up. A lot of time Mondays seem to be the day that charity golf outings happen, because that's when country clubs are usually closed and the courses will get opened up for charitable events. And I bet you every one of our listeners has teed it up in a charity scramble. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What does it mean to put, what goes into putting on a successful charity event? You're probably not going to raise $4.8 million, but you can raise good money at a golf tournament. We have a guest today, Mitch Marczewski from Newark, Ohio. Mitch, thanks for joining the program. Mitch is the founder and the president of the Nightbirde Foundation. We're going to get into what the Nightbirde Foundation does. I am also blessed and honored to be on the board of the Nightbirde Foundation. And coming up next Monday, June 2nd, is that right? Have I got my dates right? Monday, June 2nd at the Virtues Golf Club, which is a gem of a golf course. Used to be called Longaberger Golf Club. It's now called the Virtues in Nashport, Ohio. The Nightbirde Foundation will be having their fourth charity outing since the start of the foundation. And so I thought, even though this is not a political fundraiser, the things that Mitch is working on, Mitch and his team are working on to make this a successful event, are the same things that you would do in a political campaign to make a fundraiser a success. And Mitch has experience working in politics. He's worked in politics in a previous career. In fact, his wife works at our firm. She's our bookkeeper. And I've offered Mitch a full-time job on multiple occasions to come be a political consultant, and he's always turned me down. And ultimately, I think, Mitch, it's probably because God had bigger plans for you and wanted to spare you the nonsense that we have to put up with in political campaigns. So, Mitch, thanks for joining the program. And let's just first talk about the Nightbirde Foundation. How did this come to be, and why did you turn me down to come work at our firm and instead go raise money for such a good cause?
Yeah, definitely. It's great to be here, Matt. Obviously, you and I have known each other for a long time. So the Nightbirde Foundation, we're a 501c3 that helps women walk through their breast cancer journey. My sister Jane passed away of breast cancer at the age of 31, and it was about 3 years ago. But we named it the Nightbirde Foundation because her stage name when she was on America's Got Talent back in 2021 was Nightbirde. And you may remember her from that performance. She made Simon Cowell cry, which is a miracle in and of itself. And she ended up really inspiring the world through her story. But the whole reason why we put the Nightbirde Foundation together was because when she was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 28, it seemed like everything was going in the right direction for her. But in 2020, she was given 6 months to live. And we were really struggling to find a solution for that problem. Like it was, we do chemo and she dies. We don't do chemo and she dies. We had to figure it out. So we found a clinic that was going to be able to help her with some very specialized treatments, but they were outside of the standard of care, and insurance wasn't going to cover it. And we're from Zanesville, Ohio, not exactly a bastion of wealth in the United States of America. And so we realized that we needed a miracle to make this happen. So we threw a GoFundMe together, and we raised so much money off the generosity of so many people that wanted to see Jane live. And she lived long enough to really impact the world in a major way when she was on America's Got Talent in 2021. And after she passed away in 2022, we realized as a family that Jane was only able to survive on the generosity of people all over the country and all over the world. Why wouldn't we just keep that story alive and help other women live as well? So we've been in existence for almost 3 years now, and we help women walk through their journey through financial grants and through providing gifts of hope to women that are walking through really dark times.
It's been amazing the impact that you've had, and your work raising money through the Nightbirde Foundation has touched political leaders. Um, I'd love for you to maybe just share some of the political leaders that you've been in contact with through your work in the Nightbirde Foundation and how they have come alongside and offered some support in different occasions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, Governor DeWine here in Ohio has written us some really nice notes and been a part of what we're doing. And but the most notable person that we've been really close with is Suzanne Youngkin, First Lady of Virginia. We've had a partnership with the Youngkins down there the last 2 years in a row for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So they've raised some money for us. And then what we've done is we've taken our gifts of hope that we give to women that are going through cancer. I'll just show you. So we have these gifts that we pass out. They have a book, CD, a handwritten note, and they're designed to bring encouragement to women that are really in dark times. So the First Lady of Virginia, Suzanne, and I, we distributed those gifts of hope with the money that was raised in the state of Virginia to two local hospitals around Richmond, and we're able to hand those directly to women that needed them.
That's fantastic. And so let's talk golf outings. You guys have done lots of different fundraisers, and they're some of them are easy, some of them are hard, some of them are in between, right? Where do you rate putting on a golf outing as far as do you think it's pretty easy to put this together, or is it incredibly difficult compared to other types of fundraisers you do?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a 6 out of 10 on the difficulty scale, maybe up on maybe into a 7. A lot of it depends on how well connected you are in any given community. So part of what the challenge that we've had as the Nightbirde Foundation is that because we've had such a national reach in terms of our impact, because of Jane being on America's Got Talent, we have people that want to put on golf fundraisers in cities that we don't live in or that we're not really particularly rooted in. And so being able to put something together in a place where you don't have a strong following and a lot of good connections and networking is pretty difficult to do. But when you have them sort of in your own hometown within your own network, the challenge really just becomes like finding sponsorships for your event itself and then finding those raffle or silent auction items that are going to add value to the event in terms of the actual fundraising perspective. And then I would say on like the third rung of that ladder, or the third tier, is getting golfers to play because it depends on what course you're choosing. It depends what your price point is. Depends on the day of the week. You do it on a Monday, you might miss all of your friends and family because they're working, but you might and the businessmen that don't want to work on a Monday morning and would rather go play golf for charity. So it's the difficulty of it really scales based upon where you are and what you're doing with it.
Well, and so I would imagine this one's been, be given your geographic location. You're from Zanesville originally. You live in Newark. Jane was very involved in those communities. There's a lot of name recognition for you, for Jane, for your family, and for the Nightbirde Foundation. So one challenge that you've had has been a good thing in the sense of the golf course is a little frustrated, right? Because they thought we were going to have X amount of golfers and you oversold the event, and they've been able to accommodate us, but that's been a challenge, right? I mean, what was your initial goal and how have you exceeded your goal as far as just talking about number of golfers?
Yeah, just pure number of golfers. Yeah, we thought we'd pull 18 teams, 18 teams of four, we'd have 72 golfers. And I think and different courses do this differently. So like there's a course in Phoenix, the Augusta Ranch course that you played last year down at Phoenix, we threw an event, a golf event. The way they set it up was they didn't double teams up on the holes, I don't think. They just put single teams on each hole. So then, you have
Also, executive golf course. It was
true.
also September in the afternoon where it's still 110. I don't think they are having all their tee times filled. It's kind of off season, right, for Phoenix.
Correct. Yes. So in that case, they didn't double up per hole. In this case, they did, but they didn't communicate that very clearly to us where they were like, hey, 72 is your cap. You can't go over that number. I made a poor assumption that we were just going to fill the course. So what happened was I roll in and say, hey, we have 108 golfers. And they were like, whoa, I'm out. Like, then now we have to cancel other people's tee times and get them moved.
Including a two-time PGA Tour champion just this year who was planning to play the golf course who had to get his tee time. We'll leave his name out of it,
We'll
but
leave his
it's
name out of it, but I mean, I've been yelled at a lot over the last 7 days, by the golf. But they were accommodating, very great. People over Virtues are wonderful. So yeah, we have 108 golfers now, and at this point, really, the challenge becomes keeping it fun and engaging for the people that are golfing, because that's a 5.5 hour deal. Even though you're playing a scramble best ball, you're two teams per hole. Some people are going to play fast, people are going to play slow, and some people are going to drink so much that they're going to hit the max score in the hole pretty quick. So it just depends on how it's going to play.
Well, we're going to send the esteemed Jordan McMillan. He's flying in on Sunday night, and he's going to be riding around the golf cart with you, conducting interviews and having some fun. Hopefully, people like to show off for the camera, so that'll be a good time. Let's talk about some ways to maximize profit of an event. So, look, the Virtues Golf Club, if you haven't played it, this is a great golf course. To all of our listeners, whether you're interested in raising money or not, like, go play the Virtues Golf Club. It used to be called Longenberger. There was a basket company, kind of a multi-level marketing basket company, if you will, that was very, very successful until it wasn't. It was at its peak, and then new leadership it tanked very quickly. What would you say, Mitch? Around 2007, 2008 is when Longenberger really kind of fell apart as a company.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Anyway, it was a major employer in Central Ohio for many, many years. And the founder, Dave Longenberger, built this golf club. It's an Arthur Hills design. It's a fantastic track. It's consistently been rated in the top 100 public golf courses in the United States by Golf Digest numerous times. It's hosted multiple PGA Club professional championships. And I used to live in that area. I played this golf course a lot, and it'll test you. It's a good track. It's now called the Virtues, and it's just as good. I played it last year, and it's just as good as ever. And I'm looking forward to playing it next Monday. But it's not cheap. Look, when we played out in Phoenix, we played at a cheaper golf course, but we couldn't command as high a ticket price. So that's one of the challenges, right? I mean, you're paying a premium for people to come play golf. So let's talk about other ways to maximize profit.
Yeah,
One of which is with sponsorships, right? I mean, this
correct.
is your number one thing. You want people to sponsor anything and everything, right?
Yeah, I would say the name of the game in terms of really maximizing the profitability of for us, the revenue, the net revenue that comes back towards the foundation, is really nailing these sponsorships. Because really, what you want to do is you want to get everything that you have to pay for covered by a sponsor. So all of your overhead really needs to go away. So, and you can structure that in really creative ways. I've seen it where people will build a golf cart sponsor. So somebody will pay for just the carts for the day. Their banner or their logo is on the front of every single cart as the golf cart sponsor. We have a couple like lunch sponsors that'll cover the cost of all of the meals. We have some people that will sponsor, all the printing costs, and then even just the overhead of the golf itself. Like, you could say, hey, somebody's paid for your golf today. It's going to cut, like, they paid 8 grand. They're going to cover all 808 players. And so every dollar that you donate today, every raffle ticket that you buy, every mulligan that you buy, every 50/50 ticket that you buy, everything that you do from a silent auction or an auction perspective is going to go straight back into the mission. It's a really compelling case that you can make when you're actually making your ask, either at the beginning or the end of the event, that the dollars aren't going towards paying for, the banners or the whole signs that you just drove by all day long, but instead they're going towards helping the mission and helping the women that, in our case, that we're helping.
And so that's one thing that I think is great about a golf outing is that you're probably getting some people that are showing up and paying the entry fee to play the Virtues Golf Club because they love to play golf and they love to go out in a scramble, and you're not really worried about score. Let's be honest. I mean, some of these scores get ridiculous. Some people don't know how to keep. They have, like, they pencil whip you to death in some of these these charity golf tournaments where they have some creative scorekeeping. Let's just put it that
Oh
way.
yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
you're not out there for the competition. You're out there to enjoy the day and give money to charity. But you get them involved. Maybe it's a $200 price point to play golf at a place like the Virtues. You're not making a lot of money off of that person that shows up. However, it's their entry into giving, perhaps, to the event. Or better yet, somebody like me that's sponsoring a foursome. So the 3 guests I have, they're not paying a dime to come, but it's a good investment on my part. because as a board member of Nightbirde, I would love to see them engage and support the mission of Nightbirde. And so by playing golf, being around the culture and the people and hearing your speech at the lunch, I'm hoping that they get inspired to say, okay, next year I want to come play in this again, but I want to bring my own foursome, and then I'll bring a new foursome. And that's
Mhm.
how these events can grow over time.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what events tend to do, I mean, they serve two purposes. Obviously, like you want to raise money through an event, like that's obviously one of the major reasons why you do that. But events also, especially golf events, they serve as a really nice top of the funnel space for your donor pipeline. Because what you'll do is, Matt's bringing three of his friends that they're maybe marginally engaged in what we're doing. They might understand, they might know me personally, but they've never donated. So what you do is ideally you're going to get their name, email address, and phone number, and maybe even their mailing address in that registration process. And then all of a sudden they're in your marketing funnel, and then you're able to follow back up with them later on. You're able to write them a handwritten note after the event saying, "Hey, you know, Jim, so I'm so glad to see you on the golf course. Like it's too bad, Matt three putts every hole or whatever." Like you get to do that sort of follow up, and then ideally, one in 100 or maybe in five in 100 are going to go on to make a second, third, fourth gift that's going to increase into your four and five and figure range over the course of 2 to 5 years. But the goal obviously is to walk away with some money for the organization, but it's also a marketing tool and it serves a marketing function to introduce people to it and then also to get them into your pipeline.
Absolutely. Another aspect that I have found to be very helpful are auctions and silent auctions. And when I say auctions, I don't mean I've been to events where they auction off every little thing and it takes forever. That's not helpful. But having a couple key good auction items, if you have that available, that I've seen that do well. But also silent auction, right? People are mingling around before the event, after the event. I know somebody, you can see behind me, I got all these golf balls, right? These are all golf courses I played. I'm a golf nut. I love to travel around and play new courses. My goal is to play 1,000 golf courses in my lifetime. I think I'm at close to 400 right now. So I got a lot of golf I need to play over the next 40 years of my life. Um, One of the ways I love to get on new golf courses is at charity events when rounds of golf are being auctioned off. I end up oftentimes getting a foursome at a private country club that, one, I don't have to ask a member to get me on, right? Number two, I sometimes get it for cheaper than what I would pay if I went and paid an unaccompanied guest fee or even paid the guest fee with another member. I've been to the Territory in Oklahoma. I've been to Oak Tree National. I'm going to Ponca City Country Club coming up. I've been to Oak Tree Country Club. All these places were at silent auctions at charity events where I bid on a foursome and I won. And what I love about it is I'm giving money directly to the charity because that didn't cost the charity anything to have that in the silent auction. Talk a little bit about that and how clubs are generous with things like a foursome package for
Yeah,
silent
yeah,
auctions.
yeah. And it's kind of counterintuitive because you go to another golf club and say, "Hey, donate something for my golf outing that I'm not holding at your golf club." So it seems initially you're like, "Why am I going to the competition and asking them to donate to me for something for somebody else?" But what it does, it generates, obviously it generates foot traffic for them. Matt's going to go play, I don't know, New Albany Country Club or whatever he's gonna play when if he wins that particular thing, and it's a space that he's gonna go walk in, he's gonna spend money, he's gonna go to the pro shop, he's gonna enjoy the course, he's gonna be able to be there, and so those pieces of it are really, really helpful, and typically, every private course has a general allotment of foursomes they'll give away as prizes for charity. And you have to get in early. I mean, with New Albany Country Club is a good example. Like we asked too late, like they had already given away all their allotments, but they put together a nice pro shop like bundle for us with,
That's great.
glove and flag and hat, so some other stuff too. So if you're looking for actual silent auction or raffle items, being able to call around to those courses and talk to the GM or the marketing manager or the guy at the pro shop, generally they'll put something together for you because if somebody's gonna bid on that at a golf tournament, they're gonna probably come play golf at
Right.
at your course.
You know what happens too is sometimes people will buy them and then they never find the time to even go play.
Yeah, that's true
It
too.
works out just fine. Yeah, I know at our club there's an allotment, and I went last year because we had a charity event, and somebody said, "Hey, can you get us a foursome at your club?" And I went in and talked to the GM. He's like, "Oh yeah, we got like 15 more for the year that we're supposed to give away." So that's just always a good way too. If you're a golfer and you're looking for fun ways to get on unique golf courses, be charitable, go to charity events. You can find these all the time. And it can get dicey, like because my wife will see that I'm now all these silent auctions. A lot of times it's an app, and she'll
Yeah, oh
see,
yeah.
oh my God, Matt, you've bid on 8 of these golf packages. I'm like, I'm probably not going to get all 8. And then one time I got like 6, and it was an expensive night. So yeah, but it's a great fundraiser for the organization and a great way for golf nuts like me to be able to get around and play other golf courses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Mitch, let's talk this. You've been involved in political fundraisers before. You would say, like, I think that putting on a golf outing, if you're a political campaign and let's say you announce your candidacy in October and your election is in June, a golf outing's probably not the right move for you to raise money for your campaign because there's a lot of work and effort that goes into it. However, if you're a sitting member of Congress or a sitting state senator or a governor, an annual golf outing probably makes a lot of sense, right? Because I mean, your plan is when you have an event like this is your first one ever at Virtues.
Mhm.
Your goal is to keep building it, right? In Central Ohio
Yeah.
and make it an annual event. Is that right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the goal for us is to be able to make this, like, go off like clockwork, and then, obviously, the challenge that we're gonna have is we're probably either gonna have to move courses or we're gonna have to create some barriers to entry in terms of, like, financial. Because I mean, we charged a buck 25 a head. It was like 500 to foursome, which, was actually a little low probably for what value that people are getting walking onto the course. I'm hoping that that actually helps me in terms of the financial generosity of people on the like, during the day on the course, buying the raffles, doing the auctions, being able to actually give generously during, the presentation at the end. But being able to create a cadence of, "We do this every year," you have sponsors that, like, have a great time when they're there every year is really the goal for us. And even the way, like, we treat our sponsors at the events themselves has really been something that's on my mind. Like, I had a couple gold sponsors, the top tier sponsors, they're writing us, $2,500 checks a piece to be like the gold sponsor of the whole day. Like, we want to make sure that the teams that come in golf, they see their names everywhere. They feel like they're getting so much value out of their sponsorship in that way. I think it is a really, really helpful way to, like, retain those sponsorships and then also to have people want to come back and be a part of it, next year. And then on the flip side of that, just so you're saying in terms of scaling, I was at a golf tournament for another breast cancer charity that was in Los Angeles last August, and they held it at, I think it was Oakmont Country Club up there in just north of LA. And they did
The way
a
there's an Oakmont in LA. I don't know about this. There's an
yeah,
Oakmont in Pittsburgh, Oakmont, Pennsylvania, actually, but close to Pittsburgh, that is going to be hosting the U.S. Open this year. So I didn't know there was an Oakmont. Rob's probably played it. He's played every golf course in America, it seems like.
yeah, yeah. It's
So it's
Oakmont Country Club in Glendale.
in
Uh,
Glendale. I
yep.
bet you. I bet you Rob has played there. So we'll have to find that out.
Yeah, it seemed like a great
Jordan,
course.
what's the over under on whether Rob's played Oakmont Country Club in L.A.?
Who knows?
Who knows? All right,
But
so Oakmont. Go. I'm
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Oakmont.
no, it's okay. But the way they built theirs out, sorry, we're just like so deep into fundraising, but this is particularly relevant to the golf outing. Is the way they structured theirs is they did a shotgun start, I think, at like 10 or 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday, maybe, and they played golf all during the day. And then the ladies showed up for cocktail hour after golf, where all the silent auction stuff was set out, and then they rolled right into a full banquet dinner at the club itself that went
Yeah.
on until like 9 or 10.
I've
So
been
the
to I've
guy,
been to events like that. Also, there's one here, and this is kind of I think should be kind of goals for Nightbirde. Uh, you met Mike Carter, who lives up the street from me, when you were here to raise
yeah,
money at my house. We had a fundraiser, and Mike and Paula Carter were very generous to Nightbirde, and we appreciate that. Their son, Scott, died of childhood cancer. I believe he was 16 or I mean, he was 13 to 16, somewhere in that range. He was a sports nut. He loved sports, and as he was going through his battle with pediatric cancer, he pretty much got to meet every sports star that you could possibly imagine. Has more sports memorabilia saved. It's become this massive showcase that they take around to libraries and put on display throughout Tulsa. Anyway, they've started raising money for pediatric cancer research years and years ago after Scott died, and they raise, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They have the largest charity golf outing I've ever seen. They hold it at Indian Springs Golf Club in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Indian Springs is 36 holes. They put off 2 teams on every one of the 36 holes, and they have a morning wave and then an afternoon wave and then a lunch in between. So the people that are playing in the afternoon wave have lunch with the people that are coming in from the morning wave, so they're interacting. And then they have a banquet. I think it's the week before the golf outing at Southern Hills Country Club, kind of not a black tie, but a high-end banquet for anybody that golfs and anybody that doesn't golf. And they have an auction. I mean, it raises so much money and it does so well, and it fills out. It fills up every single year. And it's pretty impressive. That's what you can do with these kind of events. Once people get into a habit of coming every year, it becomes something that just is on their calendar and they look forward to each and every year. And I would say if you're a political campaign, that's what I try to get our candidates, once they become office holders, to find a rhythm and a routine to your fundraising so the people will come back year in and year out. When you're running for office the first time, it's pure chaos. You're just on the phone raising money like a madman. But once you're in there, you can have some thought to this, and you can get your sponsors lined up each and every year and have an event that makes sense. And so,
Yeah, I think Roy Vanata, local office holder here, just had his golf outing last week, which was a pretty good success for him. He's obviously already an incumbent and has a good following already there. And then Kevin Miller, I think our local state rep, is also holding an event actually at Virtues just coming up. So I think he looked at all of my sponsorship letters and just like improved on them because they're all like way better than mine. And so like obviously as an incumbent, he's putting that together and he'll have a good showing. He's able to be settled in, be able to have the sponsorships, get everything rolling in that direction. And then obviously it's going to be a little different in terms of messaging and stuff like that than what I'm doing, but obviously it works well for that sort of context.
I think it totally does. For incumbents, I think it's a great way to go about raising money. Mitch, I appreciate you coming on today and shedding some light on that. I look forward to playing next week. We usually do what's called a shotgun 9 with our guest. I'm not going to do that today because you don't play golf.
I do
So
not play
there's
golf,
not a
so
lot of interesting golf questions that I can ask you.
no.
I will ask you this. Now that you have hosted this will be your 4th charity golf outing that you've hosted. Like, when are you going to start playing golf?
When I probably stop hosting golf outings. Because honestly, man, like my role at a golf outing is to drive around and know enough about golf to talk a little bit of trash at every hole. Like
Yeah.
that's what I do. Is I drive around, I shake everybody's hand, I tell them thanks for being there, and I critique other people's swings, and then just move on to the next hole. And so I would love to learn how to play golf, but right now it's not on the cards.
Not in the cards.
Not in the cards.
Well, hey, one last pitch for Nightbirde Foundation. How can people find out about it? How can they get on your mailing list so if there's a golf outing in their area, that they can show up and play and support this worthy foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to nightbirdefoundation.org. It's Nightbirde with an E at the end of it. Also, you can Google Nightbirde and the audition video will pop up. You'll be able to see Simon Cowell's reaction to Jane, and you'll be able to see what we do. Currently, we have a golf tournament here in Ohio. We've got one up near Seattle in July. We have one we're looking to do in Phoenix probably in November. And so you can sign up for the mailing list there, or I mean, if you want, you can email me. It's mitch@nightbirdefoundation.org. Donations are obviously the way that we do our work. So if you want to donate, be a part of our mission, or even just want to play golf at one of our events, we'd love to have you.
I want you to know how much I appreciate everything you're doing as a board member. It's a pleasure to sit back and watch and just be there to offer some advice when you ask for it. But frankly, you're running a great organization where I can attest to anybody that gives to the organization that these dollars are being spent wisely. Mitch is a spendthrift. Is that the right word I'm looking for? I mean, He doesn't waste any pennies, and so we're really thankful for the job that he's doing for this organization. And I can promise you that your money's going to good use. It's a terrible thing to have to go through cancer. As you know, check out our episode with Rob where he talks about going through cancer, and some of these women, they need people to come alongside them and give them hope. And Mitch, you do that in such a great way, and you have such a kindness about you and the way that you do it. I just know God's using you for great things to reach a lot of people and make a positive impact in their life.
For sure. No, it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be able to carry Jane's legacy forward in a really meaningful way, not just in sort of in a sentimental idea, but we're giving tangible hope to women that are walking through breast cancer. Like it's not some generic hope that we're just throwing out into the world, but it's tangible financial support. It's like tangible hope and encouragement and prayer and community that we're offering these women that may not have it. So the ability for us to do this is really just a blessing. It's a blessing born out of tragedy and out of suffering and out of sadness. But what better way than to take something so difficult and turn it into something so beautiful? So it's an honor to be here and to be able to run golf events, to be able to help women all over the world. So,
Just think you could have been writing political propaganda with me every day. Instead,
shoot.
you're working incredibly hard to give hope to women in distress. I wonder who's doing better work here.
Oh, hey, you know what?
So
We're the Lord's work in some way,
yeah,
shape, or
no,
form.
we do. I just some days are easier than others working in politics. At least you're looking every night when you look at yourself in the mirror, you've done something to really better the world. There are days I question whether we have or not, but that's just the nastiness of the political system that we have, which is still better than any political system in the world. But anyway, Mitch, thanks for coming on, and thanks for everybody that listens. And please follow us on social media, subscribe. It helps us a lot to continue to bring you great content. Mitch, thanks again, and thanks to everybody that listens.
You got it. Thanks.
Hey.